Welcome to Hey Podcasters, where we bring live discussion with our podcasters' guests, find answers, and gain new answers to some of the most challenging questions about podcasting. We believe it's the best way to get tips and learn.
Hello, I'm glad that you're here, but I am somewhat stumped as to where to open up this conversation. It's all about relationships. I'm here with John Newport, who is the head, the brains, the reason why we know about Girls Ask Guys show, the podcast. And every time I speak with this gentleman, I come away with, where do I start with the questions? It's so non-traditional where John and Ashley Sanders come from with their show. It's like, I never thought about that. That's really going on. It's like, how do I wrap my mind around this thing of dating and relationships? And the world of the predator. So, can we unpack some of this? I'm going to try to. So welcome, John Newport. I am so glad that I know that I can trust you into the ears and the eyes of those that are paying attention to this to this episode. So welcome.
Thank you. I really do appreciate it.
Oh my goodness. I'm glad for this one-on-one because this runs so deep until to share this conversation. And we've had you and Ashley on speak of the show, but it runs so deep. It warrants you, the brainchild behind this show, to come back. And once again, will you just open us up with, how did you decide to start this show, this very non-traditional relationship show?
It starts way back, probably around 1993. And when I started becoming a pickup artist, and I learned very well how to manipulate people. And then I had a very harsh tragedy where one of my ex-girlfriends, a girl that I was with, and I pushed her buttons to the point because I wanted to break up with her. So I pushed her buttons. I knew exactly what to do. And I pushed her buttons to the point that she finally called it quits. And then roughly 3 days later, she went to, now I'm going to get emotional again. She went to Apple Valley, California, and she committed suicide. And that, even today, that messes me up, to know that I played a role in that. I broke away from the community and I started trying to figure out, how can I do this without causing so much pain and heartache? Because I went back and I talked to many of my ex-girlfriends. Sorry.
That's okay.
I talked to many of my ex-girlfriends, and they said that the reason that we broke up is because they felt used and manipulated. So that's when I started really delving into psychology and sociology, sexology, neurology, and I started taking college courses. I didn't graduate any of them. I just took the course that I was interested in. And that's where I started putting everything together and figuring out how I can make that connection without manipulating somebody. And at the same time, discovering a lot about myself. A lot of it I didn't like. But I started working on changing all of that. And now today, I still am very big into relationships, very much into psychology, and all the other ologies that I'd mentioned. With that, I now attract the type of people that I want to associate with, the type of women that I want to talk with. And it works out very well. I'm not trying to impress anybody. I'm not trying to be somebody I'm not. I can be totally myself, and they are attracted to that. So when I say that the women I'm going out with and the current girl that I'm seeing, they choose me. I no longer have to choose them. I choose them because I want to be with them. But on the reverse side, they're doing the exact same thing with me.
I'm going to applaud you. I really am. You did the work. You went through a tragedy. You did the work, and you continue to do the work. it's a long, lonely trail, isn't it? That
Yes.
inner landscape.
Yeah, there was a point in time which I didn't want to associate with anybody. I mean, I would literally became like a hermit. I didn't associate with anybody. I didn't want to get close to anybody because I wasn't sure of what I was doing. It took me a long time to figure out that I was manipulating somebody. And if it wasn't for the one girlfriend that I just happened to bump into, and I started talking with her, and I remember I was in La Jolla, California. It was an outdoor mall, and I just bumped into her, and we started talking. And that's when I asked her, why did we break up? Because she broke up with me, and I didn't. I was like, okay, whatever. There's more. There's a bunch of people over here I can talk to. I can get a girl within 5 seconds if I want. But it was asking her that question. Why don't we break up? And she's the one that told me I felt used and manipulated.
Wow. That hit you like a ton of bricks, didn't it? That
Yeah,
reality.
yeah. It was roughly about a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks after the suicide happened.
Oh
And
boy.
that's when I put two and two together, because I knew I was manipulating Danielle. I knew I was manipulating her, and I knew if I pushed these buttons, she was going to call it off. She was going to break up, and it would look like it was her idea instead of me.
It's kind of a narcissistic
Yes.
community.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah. And at the time, in their defense, at the time, because if you look at the people that I was studying with, uh, Neil Strauss and Mystery and some of the others that were in that group, we didn't exactly know what we were doing. We just knew that this worked. And so that's what we did, because you'll hear the term freeze out, and that's where somebody's doing something you don't like. So you push them away. And when they start behaving, they start doing what you want, you bring them back in.
Wow.
They have denounced that for years, but it's still taught. You hear about the negs making these little negative remarks, and all that does is tear somebody down, take them off the pedestal a little bit. You read about those, and you will see that later on, they start denouncing those. Stop doing that. It doesn't work, and it's not good. It's still taught.
Mhm. Mm. So then here you do the inner work, and you really make dramatic changes. You
Yes.
bring in who John Newport really is and can be, who you want to be. You renounce the workings of the community, and now you have a show, a hit
Yes.
show that is growing exponentially, because at the end of the day, John, have you found that we all want to be loved? We all want to be seen. We all want to feel the sparks and the magic and
Yes.
all of that good stuff that brings up the endorphins in all of us.
Oh, yes. And it is possible. I've experienced it. Just before we started recording, I was telling you about an ex-girlfriend that I was just talking to. And not only am I helping her with her new boyfriend, she's helping me with my new girlfriend. So there's no animosity there. We're still talking, and she was thanking me for being with her and being able to show her about herself, because if it wasn't for what I had talked with her about and how we developed our relationship, I mean, I'm not kidding, within probably about maybe 2 or 3 days, I knew what side of the bed she slept on. I knew what her desires were. I knew, and she knew everything about me, just totally open, totally honest. There is no judgment. There's no agenda. We just want to get to know each other.
Wow,
And
that's beautiful.
it is the best. It is the best thing. The only reason it didn't work out for us is because I was asking her, what do you want to do with your life? Where do you want to go in the future? Her trajectory and my trajectory would have eventually pulled us apart.
Mm.
One of us would have had to make a huge sacrifice in order to be with each other.
Mhm.
And it's during those moments where the relationship is a little bit rocky. You're like, I really don't want to be with this person right now. What would have been like if I followed my dreams?
Mhm.
Our paths should be parallel. They shouldn't diverge.
Mhm. You know how many people just have stars in their eyes and they're in the moment and they realize that we probably are not on the same page with what's coming up down the
Yeah.
road, but they take their chances. Hey, been there,
Yeah.
done that. Doesn't
Yep.
work out.
Yeah. I was talking with a client the other day, and she was going through a very hard time with the boyfriend that she was with. But she was very enamored with it. She wanted to be with him very, very badly. And I was like, okay, wait, put the brakes on.
Mhm.
What stage of the relationship are you in? And she's like, what do you mean? What stage? I was like, okay, well, for myself, I have the attraction stage or the attention stage. First, they have to grab my attention. Then I have the attraction, which can happen instantaneously. It could take a little while. The girl that I'm with currently, it took me a little while because I wasn't seeing the traits that I wanted. As soon as she showed me those traits, I was like, come here. Let me ask you a question. So after that, then you have the curiosity stage where you just want to get to know more about them. And that will lead to infatuation. That's that honeymoon phase that everybody feels. And that's where they start jumping the gun and going too fast. You have to put the brakes on, slow it down a little bit, have those difficult discussions, find out what they're about. Then after that, you have the commitment phase. When I broke it down for her like that, she's like, okay, I have feelings for him, but I'm not in love with him. I'm in infatuation.
Mhm.
And she was able to put the brakes on a little bit, pump them just a little bit to slow everything down.
Wow. If she hadn't put the brakes on,
She would
she
have jumped the
probably
gun.
and
Yeah.
wrecked everything possibly.
Yeah. Or it could
Wow.
have just been one of those 2-3 months more, and she could have gotten ghosted. He could have broke up with her. It would have ended really badly. And matter of fact, she told me about another person that I'm familiar with through acquaintances. 3 months getting married.
Wow.
But this is 3 months after she was getting engaged to somebody else.
Mm.
It's
Wow.
that infatuation phase. I mean,
Mhm.
people are so hungry to be wanting to be belong to somebody, to be able to share their life with somebody. We don't stop and
Mhm.
think, where's this heading? So we just like, it's better to have what I have now. It's not exactly what I want, but it's good.
Mm.
So I'll take this rather than being lonely again.
John, is that what I'm listening to you and man, this is so true. Do we take that posture because it is so tough to even find somebody that you're
It's
attracted to? My
it's
goodness, it's hard.
yeah, it's really not that for myself, it's really not that tough. But then again, I have to remember I've been doing this for a very long time. I can meet somebody at the gas station. I can meet somebody standing in line waiting for a coffee, and I just strike up a conversation.
Mhm.
And they're very innocent questions. Anybody can ask them. What do you like here? What kind of coffee do you like? Oh, I like this. Really? Why do you like that coffee? And they started describing it. And my my one famous transition is very simple. Out of curiosity, what do you do? They start sharing about their life. And now I can make a connection with them based on their experiences and related experiences. So I can start that conversation. And whether it's a minute and a half, they have to go or I have to go. "Hey, this was really fun. Would you like to get together and continue this later on?" I have their phone number, I have their email, I have their Instagram, I have their Snapchat, I have I have their Facebook.
Yeah.
And
But
it's
this is
just
done innocently. This is not
innocently.
under the pickup artist. This is
No,
because you want to know about that person.
I genuinely want to know about them, because the mistake a lot of people make is, oh, they're attractive. Okay, I need to get their phone number. I need to do this. There's that agenda, and that comes through in your body language. It comes through in your tone of voice. It comes across in your gestures. it's a huge red flag, and people can see that. I
Mhm.
have I have a regular my regular at my other job. She comes in, it is very obvious what she's interested in. And I mean, even people around me can go, John, if you go out with her, I'm going to be very disappointed in you. I'm nice, I'm courteous to her, but there's no I have no interest.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, that has a psychological repercussion, because the less interested I am, the more she tries.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
that's where that some of that pickup artist stuff comes in. But
Mhm.
it's the more you want it and the more you can't have it, the more you want it.
Because you're going to prove that you're going to get it. I'm getting
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
You may resist for a minute, but I'm stronger and I'm bolder and I'm craftier. I'm going to get you.
Yeah.
Wow. Tell us about the show. You have multi layers. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, John Newport has actually given us a class right here. And I thank you for that. The show, when we tune in and when we go to Apple and find you and Ashley there, you guys do the relationship, give relationship information, but you also do investigative work. It's not all
Yes.
about how to date, how to the steps of relationships. You take a darker side that has
Yes.
to be,
It has to be there.
yeah.
Because if you're not aware of the manipulators and how they operate, the techniques that they use, then you can get into something and you're not seeing those red flags. So we use real people, real examples that they may not be on the mainstream news, but they're out there. And if you've watched YouTube, you've seen uh, people like Davi Vanity. That was an episode that we did, and how he manipulated and twisted the people who followed him into relationships with him. We've had others where uh, I forget their names, because we have done several episodes, but
Good.
how they use different means to manipulate different people. And they could be using guilt, they could be using their status or their position. And if you're not aware of it, I used to be a master manipulator. I know what they're doing. I can see it. I can see it in their language. If I'm watching their episodes or a video that they posted, I can see it in their body language. I was like, I know that move. I did that move.
Wow. That's wow. I'm glad that you're doing this kind of work. Do you find it to be draining, although
Sometimes.
exhilarating?
Yes. Yeah. Because I being in law enforcement, working in prisons, working in the jails, working on patrol, a lot of people that we arrest or that I have incarcerated or watched over while they were incarcerated, they use a lot of these techniques, and I'm able
Wow.
to go, oh, yeah, you're going to try that. Guess what? I got one up on you.
Wow.
So I
That's
can actually
something.
twist things back around.
Mhm.
And,
Wow.
but I can also use it to calm a situation. Instead of the situation becoming violent, I can actually lessen it. And
Mhm.
I've been in fights with inmates, and I mean knockdown, drag out, and I'll put them in cuffs, be taking them down to the isolation area. I'm like, hey man, and you got one hell of a right hook, man. He's like, yeah, man, that kick, that it still smarts. So, and by the time we get to the back, all is forgiven, and I don't hold any animosity against them. They don't hold any animosity against me. Like, I'll be back with you right up, man. But it's going to cost you. You're probably going to lose a couple years good time. You're good, Sarge. I come back. Okay, you need to sign this. Not a problem. I bumped into him later on
Mhm.
outside of work. Then not invited him to my house, but we
Mhm.
still get along. They're like, hey, Sarge, what's going on, man? This guy right here. I got introduced to their wife, their family, their girlfriends. I don't. I I have no qualms about bumping into people that I have arrested, that I've incarcerated, or that I supervised while incarcerated.
Mhm, mhm. But brought you brought the knowledge, excuse me, you brought the knowledge that you have concerning mankind, how
Mhm.
we operate, how to de-escalate bad situations. But you also bring to the table how to treat people like
With
humans.
respect.
Yeah,
Yes.
with respect.
Yeah. Not everybody locked up is a bad person. Some of them, they just made a simple mistake.
Mhm.
And now they got to serve 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, maybe 6 months. But they're not bad people. They just messed up. And unfortunately, that comes with a law, that comes with a penalty.
Mhm.
I've had people where they got mixed up with the wrong people and the peer pressure got to them. They weren't able to say, no, I'm not doing this. And all different kinds of levels to that. And then you have those, yes, they are extremely bad people. I remember
Mhm.
when I first started and I was put in maximum security as like day 3.
Wow.
And I'm coming up against a person. He just got convicted of triple homicide, triple attempted homicide. He got 3 life sentences plus 150 years. This is a bad dude. And I'm sitting there face to face with him. And
Mm.
yeah, I still got along with him though.
Yeah, you found a way. It's so relationships. It all
Hmm.
comes back to relationships.
Yes, whether it's romantic, professional, or just interpersonal.
Relationships. There's a
Yes,
way to manage them, not manipulate them, but to
right.
honor and respect them and make them work for you.
Yes,
Wow. John, you and Ashley offer not only advice on the show where people can actually call in, write in, that type of thing, and you
yes.
guys tackle those questions, which is wonderful. But do you guys have something set up where you have the one-on-ones? Because I heard you speak of clients a
Yes.
couple of times. Talk to us about that, because I'm sure that
Uh,
there's someone who really is intrigued and they're thinking, I probably need to seek John Newport out.
Yeah, currently on our new website, what we currently have is it's just a simple form, and it shoots off a direct email to myself and Ashley. So whichever one of us pick it up first, we'll initiate the contact and we'll set everything up.
Mhm.
What we're going to be rolling out here really soon is inside of our new website, the I Know Cupid website. We're going to have more like a Facebook, Twitter, Instagram type thing set up. And there you can do direct contact with us. And we not only with us, but also other clients. So you can
Okay.
also learn from each other. But there is going to be that direct contact with us.
Mhm. Mhm.
Then once we finish it, we've already run our beta test course. So we're going to be releasing the full thing. And through that, we'll also be in direct contact with people.
So very needed. I asked you earlier about, and this was off before we started recording, the reason why you have grown so fast and seems to be so quickly. And you sent over a reading. Is it okay if I share
Yes.
that with everyone?
Yeah, actually I want to be putting that up on our website here pretty soon. So
Oh,
yes.
it applies. It applies. Why do we care about relationships so much? But why are we so stuck? Why do we get invested? Why do some of us lose our lives to relationships? And I love what you sent over. You said we all want to belong somewhere. We want to find out where we fit in. We want to find who we fit in with. It's a search for belonging, self-worth, and identity. To be completely yourself with someone else, no agenda, no angle, nothing, just you, and completely happy because someone accepts you as you are.
Yes.
That rings so true.
Yeah. I mean,
Gosh.
it's what everybody wants. And that just comes from not only my own journey of seeking out somebody that I can be completely honest with. And I'm not worried about judgment. They're not going to
Yeah.
judge me. And I'm not putting on a show. I don't have to
Mhm.
act a certain way. I don't have to be something I am not. I don't have to drive up in a fancy car, flash a bunch of cash, and show up in expensive clothes that I can't afford to impress somebody that doesn't care.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
and that's the connection that I'm able to build repeatedly with different women of all different age groups. I've gone
Mhm.
out with women, don't judge me, as young as 18. I've gone out with women as old as 65.
I'm
So,
not judging.
yeah.
I'm just surprised. And the range is there because of the intrigue, because of the person, and the
Yes.
genuine. Well, that says a lot. Why
Yeah.
not? I can see
Yeah.
that.
I mean, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Now, physically, I have my 10. I know what she looks like. I've met her. I've
Mhm.
I've when I was a professional photographer shooting for a major modeling company, I know who she is. And physically, she is my 10. Now there can only be one 10.
Yeah.
I can't sit there and go, oh, well, she's a 10, she's a 10, it doesn't work that way. But what I do is I look for the character traits. Because if the traits aren't there, it doesn't matter how beautiful they are. If the character traits aren't there, there's no hope of the relationship working. I just have arm candy.
Yeah. Yeah. And what do you do after the 10 starts to fade with age if the character traits are not there?
Yeah. And I've had women where, yeah, physically, probably about, I hate using numbers, but it's the only way that people understand. She could be just a 7, but those character traits, the more
Mhm.
traits she has, that 7 becomes an 8, the 8 becomes a 9, then it's a 9.1, 9.2. Can't reach a 10, but she can hit a 9.9.
Can you ever, do we underestimate ourselves and devalue ourselves when we don't hold out for the 10?
Some people do. I know that I've done that before. I've been guilty of it. I'm human. I'm a guy. So, but I mean, a lot of people, they always look for the grass is greener on the other side.
Yeah.
And yes, I can jump the fence and I can find that nice green lush grass, but when you take a bite of it, it is sour. I
Oh, wow.
I always so there's a lot of, I mean, even the woman that I'm currently seeing, she's probably more on the scale, maybe an 8 physically, but my goodness, the way she acts, the way she can come off and just be a kid for just a moment, and her sense of adventure and her intelligence level, but that's about as close to a 10 as I'm going to get at this point in time. So
Yeah.
now we're both looking for the same thing relationship wise, and our our goals in life run parallel to each other. They're not diverging. So there is a good potential for a very long-term relationship, and maybe possibly, if it goes that direction, marriage at the end. I'm not
Wow.
holding out for it. I'm not expecting it. I don't want to put that pressure on myself. I don't want to make her feel uncomfortable and think that the pressure is there. If I just stay in the moment,
Yes.
live in the moment, the rest will work itself out.
Mm. Live in the moment. The rest will work itself out. You have taught a class. I'm telling you, John Newport, you have taught a class. I'm so glad for this one-on-one. This was absolutely amazing. Just amazing. John Newport, the co-host, the founder, co-host is Ashley Sanders. Girls Ask Guys show. We find you on all of the major platforms, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. We're everywhere and hopefully expanding out even further.
Oh, yeah. Hey, as far as relationships go and all of these things that we've covered today, you guys are going to take it all the way to Mars. I definitely know that you are. There's a need, there is a
Yes.
need. So
Yeah.
I'm looking at the time. Any parting words? What's the one last diamond or gem or emerald that you're going to give
Yeah.
us?
Oh my gosh. I would say if I was going to say anything, is be comfortable in who you are. The more comfortable you are in yourself, the more you know what you're looking for. Because if I didn't know who I was, I would still be that manipulator, leaving a path of destruction behind me.
Mhm.
The more I'm comfortable with who I am, flaws, everything. I mean, just I'm comfortable in my body. I'm comfortable with who I am. I'm comfortable in my personality. That's what attracts the people who want to know me. They will naturally come to you.
Mhm. Mm. Well, I'm definitely going to heed that advice, most definitely. I think that it's absolutely wonderful. It's a fresh breath of fresh air, as they say, to really get down to the nuts and the bolts of relationships, dating, relationships in every part of our lives. Wow.
Yes.
See, ladies and gentlemen, podcasting, that's why podcasting is so powerful. And it is so very necessary because we have access now to this kind of information, to these types of conversations, these life and death conversations, these life advancing or stalling out conversations. So, Girls Ask Guys show, just one show that we are celebrating here at Hey Podcasters, the total month of September. So I'm Margo Lovett, John Newport.
Thank you.
We will continue these conversations later. So everybody head on over to heypodcasters.com. That's the website. You're going to find this conversation and all of our conversations there now and forevermore. In the meantime, stay safe and we'll see you later. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Hey Podcasters. That's it for this week's episode. Be sure to follow us in your favorite podcast app or connect with us on heypodcasters.com so that you don't miss our next episode. We wish you happy podcasting and see you in the next episode.